So I came upon this article on the internet that stated that Son Gohan was actually the first Super Saiya-Jin in Dragon Ball. Now, such a bold statement of course piqued my interest, and wouldn't you know it, there is actually an interesting story to be told here. Let's have a look together. So we're over here at the Screen Rant, and this is the article I was talking about. Gohan was Dragon Ball's first Super Saiyan, not Goku. That of course made me frown a little bit, because as we all know, Son Goku was the first one to transform into Super Saiya-Jin during his battle against Frieza on Namek. So I had a look at this article, and actually the author makes quite an interesting point. Because as he states, while many fans may be under the impression that Goku was Dragon Ball's first Super Saiyan, he was not. In fact, that title actually goes to Gohan. Now, he talks about the transformation into Super Saiyan of Son Goku, which we all know, of course. And a little bit further down here, and this is actually the interesting part, the author of the article refers to the original manga. And if we have a look at the manga, this is during the Saiyajin arc, we see that Vegeta and Nappa are on their way to Earth, and as they are going on their way, they're having a discussion about, in particular, Son Gohan. Vegeta says that this was no fluke, that he did hit Raditz with a very powerful blow, and that it is stated that mixed race science, so in this case we have an Earthling and a Saiyajin, Chi-Chi, and Son Goku being the father of Son Gohan, can yield a more powerful, a hybrid Saiyan, and this is what Nappa refers to as a Super Saiyan A. So if we spawn a flock of them for ourselves, we can build another Saiyan empire, but Vegeta rebukes the idea, saying that they would become too powerful and would be difficult to control. But this is the thing the author is talking about. Vegeta and Nappa are having a discussion about mixed race science, and there Nappa says a Super Saiyan. From there the author makes the conclusion that Son Gohan is the first Super Saiyan, but a little bit further down in the text, and rightfully so, he says Goku effectively redefined Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball lore once he achieved the first transformation while fighting Frieza, and then he went on to unlock even more powerful versions, as we know, Super Saiyan 2, 3, and so on. So the definition of the word Super Saiyan got changed through the course of the story. Now, I wouldn't be manga otoko, of course, if I didn't dig a little bit deeper, and in order to do so, I went back to the original source material, being the Japanese manga, and there we will see there is a reason why there's a different definition for both instances where the word Super Saiyan is used, and how the lore has evolved over time. So without further ado, let's have a quick look together. Okay, so we're over here with the original Japanese manga. I've taken the exact same page as we saw on the Screen Rant article, except of course here we have the Japanese version, the Kalaban. And they're having the same conversation here, Vegeta and Nappa. The translation in English was actually well done. No fault there. And indeed, at the bottom here, we see Nappa talking about Super Saiya-Jin, a Super Saiyan. The way it is written, and I blew it up on the screen here for you, is Super Saiya-Jin. The last character, Jin, is a kanji, so it's a character in Japanese that isn't just phonetical, it has meaning as well. The meaning being a person or a human. Super is written in katakana, so it's purely phonetical, and that is of course the Japanese transcription of the English word super. And Saiya is actually yasai, meaning vegetables, but shuffled. So the phonetics are shuffled, so yasai becomes Saiya. So from there, Vegeta, vegetable, and so on. That's why we have all these references to vegetables with the Saiyajin. So Super Saiya is all phonetically written. Jin is then a kanji, a character carrying meaning. And the meaning, actually, if you would translate it, would indeed be Super Saiyan or a Super Saiya-Jin. Just one thing that we need to take note of is the way the word Supa is written in katakana, as I have noted here in green, highlighted. That is going to be of importance in the further development of the story and in our analysis, because we don't hear that word anymore. Here it is used in reference to mixed race Saiyans, actually. Saiyans who are born from one Saiyan parent and a different parent. In the case of Son Gohan, we have Son Goku being, of course, Saiyan and Chi-Chi being an Earthling. Them together give a mixed race Saiyan. So that refers to these kinds of children. And they call them Super Saiya-Jin, Super Saiyans, because they usually develop their powers much earlier and they are stronger than purebred Saiyans. Now, if we go further in the story, that isn't mentioned anymore. There's no more talk about Super Saiya-Jin anywhere until we reach the Namek arc and Vegeta is facing off against Frieza. Now, I took the liberty of taking out that panel as well. Now here we see Vegeta is talking against Frieza and saying the Super Saiyajin that you fear so much, well, guess what? He's gonna appear here. He's gonna be here on Namek to take care of you. Now Frieza is at first a little bit shocked and then just blows it off as being some kind of bad joke. Now here we have again the word Super Saiyajin, but this time it's written differently. The spelling is different, and I blew it up as well here. Have a look. We have the latter characters that are exactly the same. Saiya is written in katakana, just phonetics. Jin is again human or person. A kanji, so a character that carries meaning. But the Supa in the beginning, and this is very interesting in my opinion, is spelled differently. We don't have the katakana Supa, taken from the English word. We have the native Japanese kanji, Cho, and Cho means super as well, so this character means super. But Toriyama sensei, the author, put some furigana on top of it, telling us that we should pronounce it not as Cho Saiyajin, but as Supa Saiyajin. And that's meaningful and interesting because from here on out, consistently, he will write the words Super Saiyajin in the exact same way as we see it here. So Super Saiyajin, written as Nappa refers to it, was only used in that one panel. From here on out, Super Saiyajin is written with a kanji up front and not katakana. Here you can see the difference in spelling. The bottom one is the way Nappa referenced it. The top one is how Super Saiyajin is referenced from here on out. The fact that the spelling, and you don't see that difference in English, of course, because in English you just have the word Super Saiyan. You can only write it in one way. In Japanese, you clearly see that it is written differently, which, in my opinion, clearly indicates that we're talking about a different concept. The concept, as written at the bottom, as Nappa referred to, is actually the concept of Konketsu Saiyajin. Konketsu Saiyajin is a term they will later use or keep using in the lore, meaning mixed race Saiyan. We also encounter that in video games, for example, like Dokkan Battle, which is a cell phone game of Dragon Ball. There is a category called Konketsu Saiyajin. Those are actually mixed race Saiyans. And that concept is important because indeed in the lore they develop their powers at an earlier age and they have the potential to become more powerful than their Saiyan fathers or mothers. And that's also the reason why characters like Son Gohan, Son Goten, Trunks and so on can transform into Super Saiyajin at a much earlier age than Vegeta and Son Goku could, because they develop earlier their native powers being mixed race. So in my opinion, what happened here, this hasn't been confirmed by Toriyama sensei, but this is just my deduction here. It's a known fact that he wanted to move the focus from Son Goku to Son Gohan once Son Gohan was born. Why? Because he wanted to move away from Son Goku and he wanted to have a new main character to tell fresh stories. He tried that by having Son Goku visibly or apparently being killed during his last battle against Frieza on Namek. The planet explodes and everybody supposed he was dead. But there was always an outrage by especially Japanese fans who wanted him to bring back Son Goku. Same thing happened with the battle against Cell. There we have Son Goku sacrificing himself to save everybody and the Earth itself. But again, you had that outcry by fans who really wanted Son Goku to come back. So, in my opinion, here already, Toriyama Sensei was thinking up a concept, or was trying to create some kind of concept to show that Son Gohan was going to surpass Son Goku in power level, calling it a Super Saiya-Jin, just written in katakana. But later on came up with a different concept of the legendary Super Saiya-Jin, which would give a whole nother dimension, which was actually really well done, a whole nother dimension to the battle between Son Goku and Frieza, because there we were on the edge of our seats wondering whether Son Goku was indeed going to be that Super Saiyan, that legendary fighter from the lore. And that's actually a completely different concept, which is the reason why Toriyama Sensei wrote it differently. A different writing, a different spelling, in my opinion, denotes clearly a different concept. And it's more apparent if you go back to the original Japanese text. That's quite telling. And so the author actually of the article in Screen Rant did a good job, in my opinion, because his deduction was correct, but is more reinforced if you have a look at the original Japanese text, in my opinion. The word Super Saiyan was used, but it was a completely different concept that later got repurposed or renamed as Konketsu Saiyajin, so mixed race Saiyajin, and Super Saiyajin became that transformation that is so well known among the fans, so symbolic of Dragon Ball. So, to answer the question, was Son Gohan the first Super Saiyajin? Yes and no. He was, in the sense that it was the first time the word was actually used, that those phonetics were used. But he wasn't, in the sense that the concept as we know it, as it became to be known in the lore as well, well, that of course was not the case. It was Son Goku who was the first one who transformed into Super Saiyajin. So I hope you found this interesting and enlightening. I hope I could add something to the conversation here. And catch you guys at the next one. Take care. Jane. Bye. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell and sound off in the comments. And hey, while you're here, why not check out another video?